I wanted to share our birth story, mostly Lexus's birth story. The day leading up to it, the evening, and then that 2 o'clock in the morning on July 4th, whenever little Charlotte was born.
Well, thankfully, the whole story does fit into one day only. And I didn't even know for a while that I was in labor because it was in my back the whole time. I just thought I was having back pains. And it wasn't until Dustin took me on what he said was only 4 miles, but I disagree. An hour-and-a-half long journey on a gravel road, if you could call it a road. Mostly potholes. That's where I realized, through some of that discomfort, that my back pain was kind of surging every 7 minutes or so. And I wanted him to bring me home. And once he did, I sent him off fishing for a while. So now I labored on my own. I took a walk down this road here, down the driveway and back. Walking was really the only thing that helped the pains at that point. But it wasn't too severe. And I wasn't yelling through them or anything at that point. It was just uncomfortable. I spent some time doing some different stretches and positions, trying to get some comfort, but it was not happening for me.
This is Charlotte's favorite thing to do, is nurse.
All day, all night, every day.
So you're saying that I took you on a way too long a trip on some back roads that had a lot of potholes, a lot of bumpy roads for sure. It said rustic road, so I just thought it was going to be a nice scenic drive. Didn't know it meant unmaintained, really holy road that you should not be driving a typical sedan down.
Yeah, so you kept stopping on the side of the road and getting out to look at plants as I was laboring in the passenger seat.
But you weren't necessarily clear that you were laboring at that point. But at some point, it was 7 minutes apart, and we were like, yeah, I'm going to need to get her home.
Yeah, it's too much. But it definitely got more intense once I got home. It was still light out, maybe 7:30 or so. I spent some hours just kind of pacing around mostly, and finally, as it got later, I decided to take a bath to try to help my back pain.
During this time, just to make sure, I was trying to inflate a pool so that we could have the baby in a pool. Our planned idea was to have an unassisted birth in a pool that we bought, but had some difficulties with that. But sent Brett, friend here at Rewilding, that to Walmart, that's 25 miles away or so, to get a pump for the pool while Alexis was in the bath relaxing. This was all going down. You were in there for some time, for sure.
I was, yeah.
It helped your back pain, right?
Because that was the hardest part for me, is because the labor did not feel how I had anticipated for it to. It was kind of hard for me to cope with the fact that I wasn't going to be getting any breaks. Usually for a while, you'll have a contraction and then you'll have a few minutes at least to relax in between. And because of the back pain, I didn't really have any breaks. It just kind of hurt the whole time. And so once I got into the bath and it relieved that, I was very happy and I was ready to be in there for a long while. And I figured I still had many, many hours before Charlotte arrived. So I was just enjoying the warm water and my newfound relief, and Dustin was feeding me watermelon and hanging out with me during that time for a while.
Very low light, just had a candle light in there. It was nice and relaxing. relaxing enough that Alexis gave birth in the tub versus the pool that we were putting so much effort into inflating and filling.
And I was pretty surprised by it. I had imagined labor would take so much longer than it did. Really, I just imagined the whole thing to be different than how it ended up. I think getting into the bath and being able to relax there really sped the process up. So I was only in active labor for a few hours at that point. And I had been expecting more than anything before she came, because what I had heard from women so many times before, that shortly before the baby arrives, you have the feeling that you can't do it. Like, you can't take it anymore. You want it to just be over. Which, not that I was necessarily enjoying myself there. I never had a feeling of, I don't know, I wasn't scared, and I didn't feel like I couldn't do it or that I couldn't last much longer. I think partially because I didn't want to let myself think that way when I could have many, many hours left to go. And also, not having anything measured during that time. Like, I wasn't monitoring my heart rate or my temperature or her heart rate, or I wasn't timing contractions or doing anything like that. You were?
Yeah.
I was just going completely on my intuition, how I felt, and was relaxing through it all.
But
I think it made a big difference.
You said that wasn't how you expected it to go, but at the same time I feel like you had kind of not many expectations. Like, the pool wasn't a for sure thing. It was like, if you wanted to get in the pool, and if you did get in the pool, if you wanted to stay in the pool. But we kind of thought it would be like something where you're dancing around for hours, you know, trying to figure out what feels good for you, but it just kind of happened.
Yeah. Even if the pool wasn't a bust, I never would have made it into it, because I was planning to wait until I had those moments that I had been told about and described as, you know, being unbearable before getting in. And I would have never come to that moment. It just never happened for me.
So there we were. Brett arrived with the pump, Kenton downstairs, Brett getting this pool ready, and I run downstairs and I say, "Stop! You don't need to pump the pool up any longer. The baby is here. The head is out." I ran downstairs. Luckily, it was like a 5-second run at most, so ran right back upstairs to the tub, and Alexis was there. Of course, the baby's head, Charlotte, was out. Couldn't really see that at that point, but then came the next strong contraction like 90 seconds later, and I witnessed magic happen. Baby Charlotte came out and immediately started screaming.
She had really good lungs. Oh yeah.
Trying to keep these mosquitoes off of us. They're really not that bad. They're starting to swarm us now as we've been sitting here so long, but mostly try to keep them off Charlotte.
But she came out with wonderful reflexes. She was squirming and screaming. She had amazing color and a head full of hair, covered in vernix. It was everything I could have wanted.
That's our unassisted birth story. It was really kind of, I don't know, it wasn't like too hyped up. It was pretty relaxing. We wrote
perfect.
It flowed well. It was unforced, which was a beautiful thing to watch. Just kind of happened on its own. And then, of course,
within a few hours after her being born, I had eaten and was snuggled up in bed with her.
slept decent that first time because she was...
We all had a good long sleep together.
Yeah. Ever since then, we've not gotten quite as much sleep as that first night. But you haven't, specifically. Thanks for listening, guys.